once again in this business analysis bootcamp day 2. We started yesterday. We looked at the foundation, that's the introduction to business analysis. And today we're going to be going deeper. We're going to be looking at the key methodologies, the key techniques, the tools that we as business analysts make use of on day-to-day basis. We're going to be looking at them. Yesterday was awesome, and trust me, today is going to be great. So I'll share my screen right away. I'm going to start sharing my screen right away so that you guys we can just begin and start proper. So how many of you can see my screen? If you can see my screen, just say yes, you can see my screen, or just use the reaction button.
Yes, we can see your
Okay.
screen.
Okay, that is great. That is great. So welcome. I remain your host, Mr. Steven, your business analyst for this bootcamp, and hopefully I'm going to be seeing more of you as you enroll in the January 2025 cohort. A lot of people have passed through this session, through this program at Amdor, and I tell you, they have had great testimony, and I can't wait for you also to have your own testimony. So today, this is what we are looking at: key tools, techniques, methodologies in business analysis. This is our focus for today. It's our focus for today. And I want you to open your mind. I want you to open your hearts, have that business analysis mindset, that analytical mindset, that critical thinking mindset, and then we're going to flow together like we did yesterday. So our focus for today is very simple. We want to equip you with the practical tools, the technique, and the methodology that we as business analysts we use to gather requirements, to assess solution, and to deliver value to businesses. And so today we're going to be trying our hands on experience with some essential tools that we use in our daily work, including how to apply specific techniques and framework. Remember yesterday I told you, I said every one of you here has already 50% of the skills that is required as a business analyst. And I think that was validated yesterday. And so today we're we're going to go deeper. We're going to go deeper. Can you still see my screen?
Yes,
Can you
sir.
still see my screen? Okay, good. So this is what we have for today. We're looking at the welcome and overview of day 2. We're looking at the key business analysis 2. We're looking at the business analysis techniques. We're looking at introduction to methodology. I think for Ario, you're going to enjoy this part because it's something you have done in your project management before: the waterfall, the agile, the Six Sigma, and the rest. And then lastly, for today, we're going to have a practical application and case study, which I tag group participation activity. So that is what we are going to be having for today. So I don't want us to waste time. I want us to jump right in. And that being said, we are going straight to the business analysis tools. You can see I've split them into 3: the data analysis tool, collaboration and project management tool, the process map and visualization tool. So this is the 3 core key tools we are using as business analysts. For the data analysis, every one of us is familiar with Excel. Every one of us uses Excel one way or the other. You may not have used it as a business analyst, but you have used it for one thing or the other. Maybe they have sent you a document that is actually in a spreadsheet format, arranged in tables, columns, and rows. That is Excel for you. So what do we use Excel for as business analysts? We use it for data analysis, tracking key metrics, and visualizing trends. Yesterday, I showed us a chart or a visualization that was prepared with Tableau. I showed us one of the work I did with Power BI as well. And when you look at that presentation very well, you will see the first thing you saw was a line graph. We call it trend. It's actually called a trend. So we can also do that with Excel. We can also do that with what? With Excel. So that's what we do with Excel: data analysis, tracking key metrics, visualization, trend. And then we have the Power BI and Tableau. We have the Power BI and Tableau, and we call this one the business intelligence tool. Why? Because we use it for creating dashboards and then reporting insights. We use it for creating dashboard, like the dashboard I showed you yesterday, interactive dashboard, visual representation of insights from the data you have analyzed. That is what we do with Power BI and Tableau. And as we enroll in this program, we're going to have more skill set in using the Power BI to create dashboard from multiple data sets, both the static dashboard and then the interactive dashboard. And then under the data analysis tool, we have the SQL. Many of you might have been hearing SQL. SQL is actually stand for structure query language. We have the NoSQL, which is non-structured query language. But what we are dealing with as business analysts is the XQL, structure query language. What do we use this for? We use it for querying databases and extracting critical business data. Many a times I use my SQL to extract the main data I need and then take them to either Power BI, either Excel if Excel can handle it, or either to Tableau, and then that is where I do my analysis. But with XQL, for those of you for those that are doing data science, they are going to go deeper because they are going to be using the big query a lot. They're going to be using big query a lot. And so they're going to go deeper into the SQL. But for you and I that are business analysts, we actually don't need to go deeper into SQL because our work majorly is just to query the database, bring out the information, then maybe transfer to either the Power BI or Excel. And most of the data sets we're going to be working with as business analysts are already structured. They're already in tabular form. They're already either in Excel or in a JSON file or maybe from an API. So it's already structured. Well, we hardly do it NoSQL. It's already what? Structure. So that is what we have for the data analysis tool. And then we have the collaboration and project management tool. Like I mentioned yesterday, I mentioned Jira, I mentioned Trello, I mentioned Asana. We have many of them, but these are the basic one. These are the in-demand one. Because what we are doing at Amdor is we don't just want to teach you what is not in demand. We want to teach you what is in demand, what the market is actually requesting for, and what we know that in the next 20 years, in the next 50 years, is still going to be in demand because they are going to keep improving on it. And that is what we're giving to you. The Power BI we're actually teaching you is because Power BI is what is in demand. It's far interactive, far simpler to use as compared to Tableau. So that is why we're focusing on the Power BI. But if you can do Power BI, you can do Tableau. It's as easy as ABC. But Power BI has more function than Tableau. It can cover more data source than Tableau. So we use Power BI because that is what is actually in demand at the market and will continue to be in demand. So for the collaboration and project management tools, we have Jira, which we use for managing tasks, tracking requirements, and maintaining sprint blocks. For the sprint blocks, backlogs actually has to do with the agile methodology. Agile methodology, so we'll break our process into sprints in the agile methodology. So when you're using Jira, When you're doing cross-functional, cross-country or cross-functional collaboration, we use majorly Jira for that. So with Jira, you're able to assign tasks, you're able to break tasks into simpler units, you're able to track requirements, and then you're able to maintain the backlog of every sprint regarding the project. And then for Trello and Asana, they say these are managing tools for workflows, tracking project progress, and delegating tasks. The same thing we also do with Jira, but Trello and Asana focuses majorly on the workflow pattern and also tracking project progress. And then finally, the third core tool we use is the process map and visualization tools. The process map and visualization tools. And this is where we have our MS Visio, we have our Mirror, we have our Draw.io. What do we use them for? We use them for creating process flow charts. We use them for creating visualization workflows. Your PBMBN, that's your business process notation. We use them for creating all this thing, your flow chart. We use them for creating all this thing. When you're maybe you have a project that has to do with software development, so we're going to use this tool to create them as well. So we majorly for creating process flow and chart and the rest like that. So basically that these are the key tools we use as business analysts. And also let me add this, the communication tools. The communication tools. In the communication tool, we're going to have same our Jira, we're going to have Trello, then we're going to have Slack, we're going to have Google Meet, we're going to have Zoom, we're going to have a PowerPoint presentation. Yeah, for those of us that will be presenting, we're going to have Microsoft Word. So we just say like the office suite document. So that is what we do for communication. As you proceed, you're going to discover that all these things we are saying, you have an idea, if not more than 50% of it already. So what we're going to be doing as an institute, as Amdor Analytics, is to guide you how to use them effectively as a BA, and then teach you the technical tools, which is the data analysis, and then the use of the Jira and the process map. We're going to teach you those ones, and then put everything together, and you are a certified and a qualified business analyst. I hope I'm making sense. Am I making sense, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, that is good. That is good. Now, the business analysis technique. The business analysis technique. I've decided to make it just four for us, which are the four key technique we use in business analysis. Okay. Uh, okay, Christopher, you want to say something? You want to ask a question? You want to say something, Christopher, or you're not clear on something? Are you with me, Mr. Christopher? Okay. Uh, when you can just raise your hand or you mute and talk, so I will just give you the floor. Or preferably, you can just drop if it's a question, you can drop it on the WhatsApp. I will just pick it up from there and attend to it here. So pending that, guys, let's continue. So this is what we have, the business analysis techniques. And why do we call it analysis techniques? Because these are the technique we use to gather, analyze data, and communicate our findings. So we have four stages or four set of them. And the first of them is the requirement gathering. What do we do in this requirement gathering? We carry out interviews, we do workshops, we carry out surveys by questionnaires, we carry out observation. All these things we are doing, the interview, the workshop, the survey, questionnaire, the observation, we are gathering what is called requirements. We are gathering what is called requirements. By the time we have gathered these requirements, which at times will be in form of data, we now proceed to what is called the data analysis. So in the data analysis, this is where we now have our SWOT analysis, which we know as our strengths, weakness, opportunity, and threat. Then we have what is called the PEST tool analysis. The personal analysis stands for political, economical, social, technological, legal, and environmental. These are external factors that we do not have control over, but we still make analysis based on them. And then we have the root cause analysis. For the root cause analysis, what we are trying to figure out, we are bringing in our critical thinking mindset, we're bringing our analytical thinking mindset, and we are diving deeper into the root cause of the problem. So we're not just saying this is the problem. No, we want to find out why, where is this problem actually coming from, what is the source of this problem. That is what we want to do when we're dealing with root cause analysis. We're going deeper. We're not just dealing with the surface. We're going to scratch the surface, break the surface, remove the concrete, and then go down to the foundation where the problem originated from. And then we can now what, make our informed decision. And this is what will now lead us to what is called modeling and prototyping. Modeling and prototyping. Now we have two scenarios here, and the first being the use cases and user stories. For this scenario, this has to do majorly when we're dealing with product management or software development. We use more of user stories or use cases. Then we have the process flow diagram. We have the process flow diagram. This is the same thing like I shared with us. This is the same thing like I shared with us in our process map and visualization tool. So the process flow diagram, this is where we use our MS Visio, our mirror, and then our draw.io. You understand? So what we are doing with this process flow diagram is we are showing the relationship between the processes from the start to the finish. Take for instance on Jumia, the process flow for Jumia is going to be you go to jumia.com, you search for what you want. Now when you search for what you want, they give you the option to add it to cart. So when you add it to cart, you have the option for checkout, you have the option to make your payment and then confirm your order, and then you are good to go. Then Jumia picks it up from there. That is the process flow for Jumia. So get to Jumia, search your product, add to cart, fill in your details, apply for checkout, make your payment, confirm your order, and then wait for delivery in your respective location. That is the process flow for Jumia. The same thing, in fact, is that majority of the e-commerce platform uses the same process flow diagram. So that is what we do on modeling and what prototyping is showing the relationship between where we are, where we want to get to, or where we are, and the desired outcome or objective of that particular project. And then the last but not the least technique we have is the documentation and presentation technique. Now here I've listed 5 things or 5 techniques that we have. For the documentation, we have what is called the BRD. We have the PRD. The BRD stands for Business Requirement Document. The PRD stands for Product Requirement Document. We still have others, but these are the key ones because all the others we have can also be found inside of these two documents, but at times the stakeholder wants them to be separated, like the stakeholder management, the RSI matrix. The stakeholder may want them to be on a separate document entirely. So, but majorly we can find them inside these two documents. Even your use cases, your user story is also found inside these two documents. And then for your presentation can take the form of PowerPoints, like what I'm doing now. I'm presenting to who? To stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? You are the stakeholders. Now you listening to me present this bootcamp to you. You are now what? A stakeholder. Then you can take the form of PowerPoints. It can take the form of emails. It can take the form of seminar or workshop. So it depends on what? On the needs of your stakeholder. Your stakeholder actually determines the means of presentation technique you're going to be using. It's not you that determine it, it's them that determine the technique you're going to be using in your presentation as well as your documentation. So, but as we go further, you're going to understand how it works better. how it works better. Do we have any questions so far? Are we confused? Are we lost anywhere? Or we are good to go? Question? Is anybody lost? Okay, Mr. Christopher, go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity once again. I was a little bit left out on this business.
I guess it's the network. I guess it's the network. Uh, is this okay? When it's back, we'll take that. It's lost somewhere along the line, but we can figure it out because as business analysts, we don't do guesswork. So we actually have to get the fact right. But so when it's back, we'll take that again. Take that again. So any other person? Another person, you're lost, you're confused, maybe I'm way ahead of where you are, so you can draw my attention to it now. Another person, is there another person that's lost? Okay, I guess we're all on the same boat, right? Okay, if you know you are with me, if you know you are with me, you're not lost, you're following me, you're understanding what I'm saying, you can just use the reaction button. You see, if you're using a system, you see react, send the reaction. So you can just click on it and just do this, the thumbs up. Okay, I can see Emmanuel, I can see Bolanle, I can see Ario. Okay, I can see Deji. Deji, welcome. I can see Yemi. Okay, that's good. So that's good. So we're on the same boat. So when Mr. Christopher comes, and then okay, Kaka, I can see that. Mr. Oluwashego, thank you so much. So when Mr. Christopher comes, we will know where he is and what actually is the challenge. So let's proceed into what we call introduction to methodologies. This is going to be fun for Mr. Ario because already he has an MSc in project management. So this is like a piece of cake for him. I don't know if he has put this if he has actually put this to work, but I don't know. But it's going to be like a piece of cake for him. So what we have on the introduction to methodology, we have two methodology basically we use as a business analyst. One is the waterfall, then the other one is the agile. You see, one thing with as a business analyst is this. You see, this methodology alone, you can become a master at it. And just by this alone, you are guaranteed employment. Just by knowing this methodology. In fact, as an agile specialist, not business analyst now, as an agile specialist, you have job already. If you can know this methodology, you have work already. There are organizations that are recruited specially just for methodologies. They have their business analysts, and then they just want somebody that is skilled as an agile methodology specialist. Your work is just to make sure you know agile methodology and just give it to them. They don't want to know whether you're good with analytics. This is just what they want. So you can see that there are so many opportunities open to us as BA, as business analysts, so many opportunity. And let's look at the waterfall. Let's look at the waterfall methodology. The overview says it's traditional sequential development process with distinct phases. Now, this is the advantage of using the waterfall. Is the requirements are clear, the process is structured, and the timelines are predictable. But this is advantage, it lacks flexibility. And because it lacks that flexibility, you may end up having difficult challenge in handling the process and arriving at the destination very late. That's the disadvantage. But the advantage is the fact that the requirements are very clear. The process is well structured and the outcome is predictable. With waterfall methodology, you cannot jump a process. You must finish A before you go to B. You must finish B before you go to C. And when you finish A, they test it that A meets the requirement. That is when you are approved to now go to B. When you finish B, they test B that B meets the requirements. You are now approved to go to C. That is why the process is structured. So there is no flexibility in using the waterfall methodology. And this is where the agile now comes into the picture. This is where agile now comes into the picture. Now, let's say you're working on a project and then you have an issue with your stakeholder. You are having let's say you are having a deliverable issue or an objective issue. After you have agreed, and along the line, the stakeholder comes and says, okay, let's make changes to this particular thing. If you're using the waterfall, you are in a big problem because you have to return back to where you start from. But when you're using the agile, you can easily make that particular changes to just that particular deliverable alone and still proceed with the project. With the agile methodology, the process is flexible, the process is dynamic. There's a structure, but the structure can be compromised in the sense that if our outcome is to produce a freelancing software, and then the requirement for this software is that it must have a chat session, it must have a user dashboard, it must have a registration page, it must have a page where the freelancer is going to list their product. Now, when you're using the waterfall, you cannot break the process. You must follow the process the way it has been listed in the BRD or the PRD. But when you're using the agile, we can say, okay, let us create the login page first. So we create the login page, we test it to see that it meets the requirement. We can also, okay, since we are having difficulty with the user dashboard, let us now navigate straight to creating the marketplace for the freelancer, or the page where the freelancer is going to list his or her product. You can see the flexibility in using the agile. It's too flexible. It's too flexible. And that is why many organizations prefer the agile methodology, because we can have a bottleneck, or we can be stuck in a particular deliverable that may not necessarily affect the entire project. So with the agile methodology, we can move, we can just pen that one, proceed to the next one while we are looking for solution for that blockade that we are actually having. This is the agile methodology for you. So it is an interactive, flexible approach focused on continuous improvement and collaboration. And the advantage is that it is quick to adapt to changing requirements. It is customer centric, and feedback is very fast, unlike the waterfall. But this is the disadvantage. It can be challenging to manage the scope. So you require frequent communication with your what? With your stakeholder. Because like I said, imagine you're building the freelancer software, the freelancer app, and then according to your document specification, you have to start with a login page. From the login page, you move to user dashboard. From user dashboard, you move to where the freelancer is going to list his or her skills or marketable commodity. But now, because you're using the agile, you now shift the dashboard aspect and jump to the third product, to the third item, or to the third deliverable. So there is need for constant communication so that your stakeholder will know of your progress. Otherwise, it will be difficult to manage the scope of the project. That is why we say it can be challenging to manage the scope, because you are required to frequently communicate any changes with your stakeholder. When you're using the agile, we use what is called a sprint. We use what is called a sprint, and a sprint is usually between 2 to 4 weeks. A sprint is usually 2 to 4 weeks. And when you're using the sprint, that means you are communicating at least 15 minutes a day. So there's constant communication between stakeholders when you're using the agile methodology. And then the other ones we have the lean methodology, This one focuses on eliminating waste and increasing efficiency in the process. And then we have the Six Sigma methodology. This one is data-driven approach to process improvement with the goal of reducing defect and variation. But as business analysts, our focus is on the waterfall and the agile, but we'll do it majorly on the agile because that is the market demand. Every organization today is dynamic, is flexible, adapting to change, and agile gives us that adaptability. Agile gives us that change, and that gives us that what ability to communicate and iterate the process in our what business analysis. So that is what we're going to be focusing on for you, and that's why I said it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. So that is the introduction to the methodologies as business analysts that we are going to be using. And then, so do we have any question? Like I said, we're going to be doing hands-on practical. We're going to pick maybe one of us that have an issue you like that you know is shareable with us, and then as business analysts in the making, we're going to deliberate and discuss on it together. You understand that? So do we have any questions so far? Is anybody lost? Are you confused? Is there anything you want me to recap? Go ahead and let me know. You can unmute and air your opinion so that are we able to do justice to that? Do we have any? Mr. Emmanuel, Mr. Deji, Mr. Rio, uh, Mr. Christopher is back. So do we have any question? I can see a lot of us here. Hilary, Balanle, Deji. Okay, Mr. Christopher, go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Welcome back.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Where I'm a little bit lost is this waterfall methodology. You make measure like is the disadvantage of it is the disadvantage. What are the like the direct and the direct disadvantage of this waterfall methodology? Yeah, and why is it not? Why is agile more flexible or like more better to be used more than this waterfall methodology? Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. So now let me give you a scenario. Let's take it practical. Do you have any challenge in your place of work that you can bring into the equation? So we'll now bring waterfall and agile and run it. But I love to be practical when it comes to business analysis, especially methodology. We need to be practical. Okay, let me just create a scenario. Now, let's say you want to build a house. Let's say you want to build a house. And then the process of building a house first is you need to get the land. After getting the land, you need to get approval for your building. That's from an architect, a registered architect. You need to have the land, the building drawn. You need that. Then after you've gotten that, you need to now reach out to an engineer, maybe a civil engineer or somebody that's going to be a supervisor, that's going to be in charge of the projects, that's going to give you the costing from your foundation, the blocks, the cement, the gravel, whatever you're going to use to build their house. Now, after you've gotten that, then you need to what? Release the fund. So when you have released the fund, the next thing is they will commence operation. Now, for this project of building a house, you are using a waterfall. You're using what? A waterfall. And from acquiring the land to the point where they start the building of the house, this is what waterfall does for you. You cannot skip any aspects. So when you acquire your land must be registered. You must get your approval document from the appropriate authority. Until you are done with this, you cannot proceed to actually having a drawing for that land or drawing your desire accommodation or apartment that you want to build, you can't proceed because you are using a waterfall. So you must finish the first phase of getting everything done that has to do with acquiring the land. So when you are satisfied with that, you will now move to the next phase of contacting or hiring an architect that is now going to draw the building for you. And until you are satisfied that the architect has met all the requirements that you listed to him, you cannot proceed to getting an engineer that is going to give you the cost of that particular building because you are using a waterfall. You understand me now? Because you're using what? A waterfall. Now let's take for instance, you've the first stage has been approved, the second stage has been approved, and now the third stage has been approved. And then in the course, after approving the third stage, you now discover that no, I don't like this building again. I've seen something that is more befitting to me. Because you are using a waterfall, you have to return back. There's no room for flexibility to say, okay, let me just readjust the building plan, put this here, put this here. No, you have to return back to the architect to redraw the new and the latest design you have. That is waterfall for you. Now, the same projects, but now you're using the agile methodology. I can just buy my land without getting the landed document and then proceed to an architect, tell an architect to draw my building for me. You can see that now. Proceed. I can even skip the architect and go start making inquiry and say, okay, I want to build a 4-bedroom bungalow, a 4-bedroom duplex. I need you to give me a quotation of what it's going to cost me. I will just use just explain to the developer or the engineer for the project I'm actually discussing with, and then he's going to give me a quotation. You can see that I have jumped several things because I'm using the agile methodology. So I've skipped the process of obtaining the landed documents. I've skipped that. Not that I'm not going to do it, but I've moved ahead while still working on that. So that did not stop me from forging ahead. But in the waterfall, that will stop me from forging ahead. You can see the two difference now. The waterfall is not flexible, but the agile is flexible. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying now, Mr. Christopher.
Yes, I'm getting you, sir.
Good. So
Yes,
that
I'm
is the
getting
two
you, sir.
difference between the agile and the waterfall. And that is why organizations prefer the waterfall because it's flexible, it's dynamic. I can bend one, move to the other while still working on that one, but I've achieved something else. So I save time more when I use the agile compared to the waterfall. Imagine that it's going to take you 6 months to get the landed document for that house. So you're going to wait 6 months before you're able to get the building plan because of the methodology you are using. But if I'm using an agile methodology, I don't need to wait 6 months. I can get my land today, approach an architect today. Even before paying for the land, once I'm sure that, okay, the land is mine, I'm sending them the money. Why before they even give me the receipt for the land, I've gotten an architect already, I've gotten a surveyor already because I'm using a waterfall. And these are things we do every day. These are things we apply every day. The only difference is that you may not have known that, okay, what I'm doing is actually an agile methodology. What I'm doing is actually a waterfall methodology. You may not have known it, but we do it every day. You have a tax in your office. What do you do with your tax? Or, okay, I think, Mr. Emmanuel, you're working in the financial department. You're working in a bank. Now, let's say you are I walk into the bank and then there's a queue for those that wants to, there's a single queue for those that wants to withdraw, for those that wants to deposit, and maybe do one or two things. Now, when I come into the bank and then I step on the queue, and one thing with bank, let's say they are now having network issue for withdrawal. If they are using a waterfall methodology, they are going to wait. Everybody will be on that queue. They are going to resolve that particular issue before they continue operation because they are using a waterfall. But if they are using an agile methodology, which is what they use, you will hear the person at the counter say, okay, for those of you that want to withdraw, or withdraw, we're having an issue with the network. So those of you that want to deposit, you can come forward and deposit. What did they just do? They just paused a process while they are working on that process at the background, and then they have moved on to the next phase. So while the deposit is taking place, the engineer or whoever is in charge is working on the issue pertaining to the withdrawal. Do you understand the process now, the difference between the agile and then the waterfall? So this is what we use every day. We use the agile methodology every day. Every day. In our respective place of work, we use it. At home, we use it. So it's something we do every day. You come back from work, you're very tired and you're hungry. According to the waterfall, you must shower first before you eat. But because you're an agile person, you say, give me my food first, let me eat. After eating, then you go to take your bath. That is the agile methodology. So it's something we use every day in our daily life. The difference is that we are not going to be applying it as professionals. So we're not just going to do it casually, unknowingly. Now we're going to do it knowingly and consciously as professionals. That is the difference. So is that clear?
Yes, sir. Possibly clear.
Okay.
I'm clear now, sir.
Okay. Do we have any other question? Any other question? I want us to do a practical. Maybe there's, I don't know, among us, if anybody has any issue, any challenge or place of work that you think we can share, and then as business analysts in the making, we'll come up with a solution for you. We can do that within the next 10-15 minutes. Do we have anybody that wants to volunteer? I want us to be practical. You see, being a business analyst is very sweet because we practice it every day in our life. We do it every day in our life. So do we have anybody that wants to volunteer? Anybody? Ario, Yemi, Chinedu, Emmanuel, Bolanle, Oluwasegun, Deji, anybody, Kemi, Fola, anybody, Lawi, okay, Lawi, that wants to share. Okay, this is what I'm currently facing a bottleneck in this aspect, and I would like us to like put us together and come up with a solution. Do we have anybody of such? Or do we have any question? Do we have any question whatsoever? If there's no question, I will that means we're all clear. Okay, Mr. Ario.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm with you. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. In a noisy place, but I can still manage myself to talk. Now,
Okay.
you are according to the question you asked, if there's any bottleneck, anything at all we can actually use as a practice. Now,
Yes.
I've been working on a credit business to
Okay.
start a credit business where I can actually give soft credit to people
Okay.
as a loan, a soft loan to people. So now
Okay.
I've been working on the proposal over time, and then yet I've not been able to come out with the holistic, because I'm also going to pitch it to one or two people who are going to be an investor in that business. Like, they are going to also release their money so that I'll be the one to carry out the every detailed activities as regarding the business, funding people and then retrieving the money back and every other thing. But all these people, I've had a conversation with them, so they asked me to come up with the proposal, give detailed analysis of how I'm going to run the business, and then what is going to be their return on their investment. So of course, I've been doing some paperwork. I've been able to come up with a particular write-up. But if there is a sketch using the business analytical skill to give it a little touch or just an explanation I don't mind if that is possible. And if it's not
Okay.
too big. All right, sir. Thank you.
Okay. That's a great one. It is some. I think Tolulope wanted to say something. I think Tolulope wanted to say something. Okay. So let's work on Ario's project. Who wants to join me? I don't want to be the one doing it alone. who wants to like volunteer and say, okay, Mr. Ario, this is what to do, this is what to do, this is what not to do. Does anybody have any idea? Anybody, just unmute and air your opinion. Nobody is we're all learning here. We're all learning here. Me too, I want to learn from you. So do we have any idea? Okay. Okay, because of time. Mr. Rio, this is what you are actually going to do. The first thing first is to gather the requirements. And what requirement are we talking? The requirement from your stakeholders. Now you have varieties of stakeholders. Your first stakeholder is those that will fund your project. Your second stakeholders are those that are going to get the soft loan. So these are your two key stakeholder you have, internal and external. Internal is your investor, external are those that are actually going to get the soft loan. And two ways you can gather these requirements. Okay, Mr. Lawi, you want to say something? Okay, just unmute and say what you want to say, Mr. Lawi.
Hello, good evening to you all.
Good evening, welcome, sir.
Yeah, I would just like to join you in taking care of this Mr. Rio's project.
Okay, that's awesome. That's welcome. I love that. I love that. You're welcome. You're welcome. So don't mute. Just stay unmuted. Just stay unmuted. Then so this is how we're going to do it. You're going to act as a stakeholder. Which one do you prefer, an investor or the one that wants to collect the loan? Which of the stakeholder do you prefer, internal or external?
I think we need to expand the stakeholders. One of the
Okay.
stakeholders that is relevant is an external stakeholders, which is the regulators. Because he said he wants
Okay.
to establish a loan company. A loan company is
Yes.
similar to something similar
Microfinance bank.
to a microfinance bank, which is under
Yes.
a regulatory organization.
Yes.
So there's no way you can run such a business without having any communication with the regulators. So the regulator is a
Okay.
stakeholder.
Sure. You are correct. The reason why I didn't put the regulator is to save time and the fact that Mr. Ari already knows he has to obtain the necessary license. You understand me now? Now, why I didn't put the regulator also was the issue is not having issue with the regulatory stakeholder. His major issue now is the stakeholder for investment that will bring in the fund and the stakeholder for the loan is actually intending to give out. That is why I decided not to go into having other stakeholders. We have other stakeholders aside from the regulatory. We have other stakeholders that can come into the business. But these are the two key stakeholders that pertains to a specific problem now. His problem now is not the licensing. His problem now is getting the fund, distributing the fund. You understand me now? And that is why I didn't go to that extent. So you are very clear, you are very correct about the expanding the stakeholder, but to save time so that we'll be able to like give him something tangible that he's going to use and work with, and then hopefully we'll be hearing that he has started his soft loan business. Have you, Mr. Ariel?
Yes,
So
sir. Very true,
so
sir.
okay. So you decide which of the stakeholder you want to be among the two. Which one?
I'll be an investor.
An investor. Good. Just 30 minutes here. So now you'll be an investor. Okay, that's good. So me, I'm going to act as Mr. Ario now as the project owner. I'm going to act as the project owner. And Mr. Ray, I want you to pay attention. This is how you're going to run it. So our first phase is to gather the requirements. So our first phase is to gather the requirements. Now, I'm having a one-on-one conversation with Mr. Lawi, which happens to be a proposed investor in this idea or project that I have. What am I having? What am I trying to do with him? I'm trying to gather information from him. I want to know what he wants. That when he sees this thing in my business, he's going to invest his money. Do you understand now, Mr. Ario? So, Mr. Lawi, good morning, sir. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning. I'm fine, and
Good
you?
morning. I'm good, sir. It's a pleasure for you to give me this audience with you. It's promised to be enticing. I won't waste your time, and trust me, you're going to love what I'm about to present to you. So I know you're a very busy man, and without wasting your time, sir, I have a project at hand, and I've studied many of the soft loan giving organization, and I discovered that they charge huge amount of profits, and this has caused a lot of problem because many of the borrowers could not actually refund the money. So there are several issues they are facing. The loan amount that they offer is small, which I understand, but then the interest is high and the duration of repayment is very, very small. So I've come up with a solution, and that is the Ario Loan app. The Ario Loan app is the solution to the problem, where we're going to offer loan borrowers, at least we're going to begin with something tangible, say a 15,000 naira loan per individual when they meet certain analysis using our calculator. So when they meet the analysis, we're going to start them with a 15,000 naira soft loan. That is one of the advantage we have, because I've analyzed 90% of the loan app, and they don't offer that kind of amount. And then our duration for the 15,000 naira is going to be a 30 days period to be able to repay back the loan, which they can repay on instrumental basis every single day. So the loan will be broken down by the 30 days period, and then an estimate on what they are to pay on daily basis, inclusive of a 3% return profit for the duration of 30 days is going to be included. This way, it becomes easier for them to be able to pay back the loan without stress and without being a burden to them. So what we are looking for, sir, we're looking for potential investors that we buy this idea and see that this idea actually comes to life. Because with this Ario Loan Hub, we're going to help a lot of people that are in desperate financial and emergency needs. So we need you on board, sir. I don't know if there's anything you like to know, or you want to inquire, or you like to see in this project that's going to bring you on board. We are willing and ready to go the length with you, because we know that with your support and resources, this is going to be a successful project, and you yourself, you're going to at the end of the day smile with us. So, sir, this is what I've come to do this morning. So over to you, Mr.
Okay,
Lawi. Now, okay.
Mr. Steven, let me start this way. Like a typical investor usually thinks,
Yeah.
when in areas of what is the return? What was
Your
the ROI?
ROI. Yeah.
You said you will be giving out a loan at 3% interest rate,
Interest. Yes.
and you'll be giving out as low as 15,000 naira,
15,000. Yes.
so which uh, each customer would have to pay over a 30 days period.
Yes.
So it means that if Mr. Hay comes to a real loan company, takes 15,000 loan on the 1st of February, for example, and he has until 29th or 28th of February to pay back that loan. Is
The
that what it
loan,
is?
yeah. That is what it
Okay,
is.
at
And then there's a
3%.
structure. There's a structure of daily payment, like a daily adjust contributing towards the payment of the loan.
Oh, which means the very moment he takes that loan, he can start making some, like a stipend,
Wi-
dropping it in the
Like it's,
wallet with a real
yes,
loan.
sir. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
so as to ease the burden of paying that payment.
Yes, sir.
So which means that if he takes 15,000 on the 1st of February, and by, let's say, 4th February, he starts dropping some money, paying some money little by little, depending on how much he pays daily, he would
Yes, sir.
have finished paying that money probably before the end of the month.
Yes, sir. Exactly, sir.
Now, one of the questions now is that daily payment, is it mandatory? Is it compulsory for the customer to pay, or is optional?
For
That's one of
now,
the questions.
we're not. It's not mandatory, sir. It's not mandatory in the sense we don't want to burden
Okay, so
them
it's optional.
because we understand that it's
So
optional, but it's
now,
going to be.
how do you now handle your recovery system? How do I mean? If you say that is not mandatory, it's optional, which means you leave room for them to owe you and say, okay, I don't have time for these people now. Maybe by April, I'll start paying their money. No, so how do you intend to recover the loans you give out? What if somebody now says, okay, I've taken this 15,000 from a real loan company in Ikeja, Lagos, and he decides because of that 15,000 and he moves to Abeokuta, runs away to Abeokuta. How do you intend to recover such a loan from such a person? What are the measures you have put in place to be able to forestall this kind of things from happening?
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for this question. So the measures we have in place, first and foremost, we're working with the credit bureau. So we don't just give out loan to any and anyhow person. We're working with a credit bureau. So we have access to credit bureau portal, which is integrated in our loan app system. So the moment you input your details, there's actually a background check that is showing us your credit history. You are not seeing it. The lender is not, the borrower is not seeing it, but we at our real loan app, we are seeing this thing, and these are the statistics we use to actually determine if you are actually eligible for the loan or not. That is the first measure. Then the second measure we are actually using is a guarantor measure. We're using a guarantor measure, verified guarantor measure. So in our real loan app, we have a portal where you're going to input your guarantor details and their contact details and their ID card, and the system will automatically put a call across to them why these details is being imputed. So while you're waiting for your loan to either be approved or disapproved, the system will automatically reach out to the guarantor to verify their real identity and authenticity. So these are the two basic measures we have put in place to ensure that we are able to recover our loan. And that is why we are making the daily contribution not mandatory, but you're going to be seeing it that, okay, I'm supposed to contribute this money today. Why are we doing that? Because we understand that the customer may not, all customer may have that fund available at that point in time. So we don't want to burden them. We don't want them to overthink, but we want them to have an understanding that they have a commitment of repaying the loan back. So it's going to be displaying, it's going to be popping up that you ought to make a certain contribution today, and it's going to be added automatically. So if, for instance, they fail to make today's payments, is the amount for today will be added to the amount for tomorrow, and then any amount they pay will be automatically deducted, showing them what is left to pay as they proceed over the course of the 30 days period. So failure to do that 1 week to the expiring of the payment, a call is going to be placed to them, placed to their guarantor to help notify the borrower that it has a commitment to return so and so loan back to Ario Loan App. So with these measures, I believe we are able to recover our loan and make our profit without stress.
Okay. Well, to be candid with you, I think you still need to do more. But let me quickly ask another question.
Okay,
What
sir.
is there something like an insurance backing up your this whole business that you want to venture into? Something like a safety net in case of insolvency. Let's say tomorrow something happens. I pray not for a real loan company, but things happen in business. A real loan company goes bankrupt. Do you have something like an insurance covering your business, like the way banks have, like NDIC, such that if anything happens to a real loan company tomorrow in terms of bankruptcy, I, the investor, I'm going to get my money back. I may not get my profit, but I will get my principal back.
Yeah, there's always an insurance as a
Please, can
real
you
loan
respond to that?
app. Yeah, a real loan app is going to operate as a microfinance bank, and as a microfinance bank, we have to be licensed by the CBN, and there's a certain verified amount that is going to be deposited with the Central Bank of Nigeria for us to have our operating license. So that your investment is guaranteed.
Please, sir, come again on that, sir.
Okay. I said Ario Loan App is going to operate as a microfinance bank. And as a microfinance bank, for us to be licensed to operate our business, we have to be licensed by the CBN. And that means a certain guaranteed amount needs to be with CBN. A certain guaranteed amount needs to be with CBN for us to have the operating license to actually operate in Nigeria as a loan app and a microfinance bank.
Well, I think that would not suffice alone, because if you have a certain amount of money with CBN and you don't have an insurance in case anything happens to the money you have with CBN may not be able to take care of your problems when it happens. So I think it is better to also have an insurance backup to take care of anything, any pitfall that befalls the business. I think that should be added. The CBN part is good, but the insurance part is also crucial. I think it's an area Ario has to look into as well. It's one of the things that will give me, the investor, like rest of mind. Like, okay, if come what may happen, I will get my capital back.
Thank you so much,
Are you
sir.
with me?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you. Thank you so much, sir, for that. Uh, so I've heard what you said, and I'm going to go back to the drawing board and put what you have said into action, and then I'm going to return back with a much more better solution for you. And I'm hoping that we will have you on board on this Ario loan app.
Okay, I would also like to go back to the recovery
Aspect, recovering
part.
of the loan. Okay, sir.
The recovery aspect. I also think you need to put in more, like a form of controlling measures that would give every customer this sense that these people have my data. When somebody comes now and says, I want to take a loan from you, Ario Loan Company, there are some things you need to get from that person that will be peculiar and specific to only that person. One of them is the BVN. Another is the NIN. With that alone, you can easily track them, either physically or through the accounts. And this, I think you should do in consultation with the regulators that this is what we want to do based on our business. If they approve it, it means that if Mr. A comes and takes a loan and he doesn't pay back within the given period, and he flouts the time and he doesn't pay back, you can easily use his BVN to track all his dollar account and deduct your money from there through CBN. Or don't you think that's a measure?
Okay, sir. We will work in line with your requirement, and then we'll see the
I think
feasibility.
if you put it in place, it puts every potential customers in check. That
Exactly,
look,
sir.
this will have me. So I can't just think I'll just take their money and flee.
Uh, yes, sir. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
So if you can look
We'll,
into that, that would be fine.
we'll look into all the aspects you have outlined, and then we'll work towards it, and then we'll return back to with a better solution, and then hopefully we trust that you're going to be coming on board, and then we're going to kickstart a real loan app. It's nice meeting you this morning, and thank you so much once again for your time. Despite your busy schedule, you've been able, to reach out to give us this listening ear. We are grateful, sir, and we need men like you and people like you in this beautiful country to see people like us progress and go to the next level. We are grateful, sir, and we've not taken the opportunity for granted. You'll be hearing from us shortly on the solution you have outlined, and we're going to work on it and deliver. Thank you so much for your time, sir. We are grateful, and God bless.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, guys. So Mr. Aria has left the platform, but I know he's going to watch the recording. He said where he is actually in a noisy environment. So you see, this is how we gather requirements. I just had a conversation with one of the stakeholder. Now, this is what we do as BA. We interact with them. This is actually a one-on-one interaction through, it can be physical, it can be virtual. So when we do it like this, we interact with them. Now you can see that the investor has listed several aspects, several key things that was actually missing in the business. And these are things that are needed for the business to actually go forward. So by this interaction alone, we've been able to know, okay, we are missing this, we are missing this, we need to put this, we need to put this, and then we are going back to work on it. And by the time we come back, you're coming back with tangible solution. So as BA, and these are things we do every day, you interact with people every day. They bring a problem, you interact with them in the office and the rest like that. So I want, you understand me? So is actually a great opportunity to be a BA. It's very interactive. You will learn a lot. Your mind will open to challenges, solution. You yourself, you'll be amazed at how much you know and how far you can go as a business analyst. Thank you so much, guys, for your time. Today is already fast spent, and thank you so much, Mr. Lawi, for that. I'm actually grateful. I'm actually grateful. We didn't have Mr. Alawi yesterday. Otherwise, maybe we would have so much more interactive session. And guys, please don't forget the attendance is on the WhatsApp group chat. Let's do to fill up the attendance. The data is very valuable and vital. We use it to communicate to you guys. So tomorrow is the day 3, and tomorrow we're going to be doing practical. I'm going to get a data set. We're going to be working on Excel tomorrow as business analyst, maybe a sales data or something as business analyst. So you don't want to miss tomorrow, guys. You don't want to miss tomorrow. We have been talking and talking and talking and talking. Now you're going to put those talk into action. We're going to deal with the analytical part and then the business analyst part in tomorrow's class. So tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m. is the day 3 and the final day of this boot camp. It has been awesome from day 1. We've looked at the foundation and introduction to business analysis, and today, the day 2, we have gone deeper into business analysis proper, using the techniques, the methodologies, and the tools. And tomorrow, we're going to be putting those tools into proper action. So you don't want to miss those tools for anything. And trust me, if you miss, you lose. So make sure you don't miss it. 7 p.m. is the time tomorrow. And I'm grateful to have you guys here. Thank you, everyone. Emmanuel, Bolanle, Chinedu, Oluwasegun, Taye, Yemi, Lawi, thank you for that contribution. Fola, thank you. I've seen your emoji, your clapping, your encouragement. Kemi, thank you. Mr. Christopher, thank you for the beautiful question. And Miss Chinere, thank you so much. So, guys, we see you same time tomorrow where we're going to be getting our hands dirty as business analysts in Excel. Don't miss it for anything. Oh, Fola, you're raising your hand. You want to say something? Okay, Fola, unmute and say something very quickly before we go. Yeah, okay. Yeah, me too. You raised your hand.
You raised your hand. Oh, so it's a mistake. I was trying to do something.
Okay, no
Sorry.
problem. What about you? Okay, thank you, sir. What about you, Mr. Yemi? Or Miss
Yeah.
Yemi?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Steven, for your time. I was hoping that there would be time for question and answer
Okay,
because I
okay.
have few
You have a
questions, but I noticed that you were trying
okay,
to round up.
because of time. Okay,
I
just
don't know if
shoot your
I can go
question.
ahead with my question or I should wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, shoot your question. Two things I will do, or maybe you can drop your question on the WhatsApp group. So I'll attend to if they're using a voice note for everybody. How about that?
Okay,
I think
thank
that
you.
will be better. So that those that wants to
Okay,
rest will go ahead and rest. Okay. So
okay,
thank you very much. I'm grateful. So I'll be expecting your question on the WhatsApp group and then expect an answer, and we're gonna benefit from it. So guys, tomorrow 7 p.m. West African time, right here in Nigeria, wherever you're joining for us from, tune your calendar to the tree, get that notification on so that you don't miss a session because from the beginning it's going to be hands-on practical on Excel, and then the business analyst aspect. You're going to build your first dashboard tomorrow. So if you have a system, I'd like you to tune in with your system because we're going to be following. You're going to do as I do tomorrow. So guys, till tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow and take care and God bless.